are so bright. Pull your hat down, make sure your cinch is tight. Horse is kinda snuffy, cold chill up your spine. You'll get your ass moving, son, we're burning daylight.
Howdy there, I'm Matt McKinley and we're burning daylight. Well, howdy there, daylight burners. Happy Wednesday. Got hot again here. But probably cooler here than it was in Las Vegas, which is where this particular episode's guest is. It's not from, but that's where she lives now. Really a cool chick. You might have seen her on Instagram. She's known as Machine Gun Bebe. Bebe Noyes is her name. She is an Army veteran, welder, and pretty well an expert on all things machine guns. And this was a cool episode. Talked a little bit about machine guns, but we just kind of talked. And it went on for a while, and I enjoyed the hell out of it. She's a really, really neat gal. Got experienced a lot in her life, seems like, and just a fun person to talk to. And yeah, I think you're going to like this. So before I take up too much of your time, let's get into the show with Bebe Noyes, Machine Gun Bebe.
Burning daylight, burning daylight. In the saddle till the job's done right. Burning daylight. Well, life is just a gather, and you won't catch 'em all. But when you ride through the gate, make sure you sit up tall. I can see the horizon, it's looking pretty bright. Well, get your ass moving, son, we're burning daylight. Burning daylight. Burning daylight. In the saddle till the job's done right. Burning daylight. Burning daylight.
Hell yeah. So,
I'm not a parent. I can't throw butt rock.
I've got two. I try my best not to fuck them up. I think they're smart enough where they'll, if I don't really fuck them up, they'll be fine, I think. So.
No, I just stick with the dog. Stick with what I know.
There you go. Nothing wrong with that. So it's Bebe. Is that how you say your name? Or Bebe?
Bebe. Like
Bebe.
King. Mm-hmm.
All right. Yep. I thought so. And that's your government name?
That's my stage name. Yes.
Oh, okay. Cool.
It's my street name.
Street name. There you go. Is the other name's classified info, huh?
No, I'm Bebe Noyes. That's my name.
Cool. And you are you work for Machine Guns Vegas?
I do. They let me keep showing up. Yeah. I keep
That's
showing
awesome.
up. They keep sending shit. So yeah, I've been doing it for a couple of days now. So I guess they're happy. I'm happy. Everybody's happy.
How did you get into that? Because I know that.
Question.
Yeah, it's because I know there was that guy over by Colorado Springs that had the machine gun range.
Dragon Man.
Yes.
Dragon Man, dude. Yes.
Is he still alive?
Yes. No, he went to heaven.
I thought I'd heard that, but I had one of my good college buddies.
What a tragic story too, because they were filming a TV show out there. I don't know if you were where you were, but you can read about it in the Google. And were doing a TV show, him and his wife, about machine guns and pyrotechnics and explosions.
Yeah.
And they brought in some pyrotechnic company, and his wife was impaled by a projectile from the pyrotechnics company. And they had everybody out there. They had state, local, and federal law enforcement, and they had to leave her body out there since there was explosives involved. They had to leave her body out overnight while they did all of their reports and everything. Oh, what a terrible thing to happen. And then he went to heaven here, I don't know, in the last few years. He had a very large collection. It was a very interesting person, I think. You know, I didn't know him real well, and I met him once or twice, but I thought he was a very interesting man.
Yeah, for sure. I'd watched a couple interviews with him, and he was a wild man for sure. I just
Dragon Man.
But those are my favorite types of people. Like the people are just like, that guy might be a little crazy, but it's like there's something cool about that, you know. Like I think my dad's kind of like that. He's not a gun person per se, but he's just like that, just kind of eccentric, you know. I guess is the best way to put it. Just
I love eccentric people. I'm surrounded by them. I love them. It's too short though to not be around those kind of people.
Right. People with good stories are who I like. You know, if you can, and it never failed in college. Like, you know, there was always the trying to pick up girls, but more often than not, we'd go to the bar and I'd end up at the end of the bar next to some old guy just shooting the shit. And while everybody else was you know, trying to pick up the sorority girls or something, I'd you know, more often than not, I'd try that for a little while, but I'd be waiting because you'd always go to the end of the bar. That was the easiest way for an ugly guy to get a drink, is to go to the end of the bar and tap them on the shoulder when they walk by. Hey, I need a drink. And then it'd always be some old guy just nursing his beer. And I'd talk to that guy for like 2 hours. And my buddies would be like, where did you go? And I haven't left. I went to get a beer and I've been here ever since.
Yeah. I met this random dude who was all this wild shit.
Yeah, exactly. We were at the Ag Day barbecue before you know, the Ag Day football game. I think it was the first year I was 21, and I was working the Rocky Mount or the Rocky Ford watermelon stand, and of course the barbecue started early in the morning, so nobody was eating, and it's a like big time barbecue, so nobody was eating watermelon. I was like, all right, I'm going to go eat. And then I was supposed to come back and work the stand, and I just left. I got a free ticket and went and got my food, went into the Coors tent, and there was an old man there. And I had this just greasy, nasty CSU hat that I got freshman orientation. And I was working at the school farm and driving tractor there. And we had to run this rototiller. It was pull behind rototiller. And you'd have to grease it every 15 minutes or the bearings would go out. And so, and I'd be greasing. There was always
some state-of-the-art shit right there.
Yeah. And there's this one grease zerk that would never take. And so, you know, there's always a big glob of grease and I'd just wipe it on my hat. And this thing was just disgusting. But the guy was like, you look like you work hard. Let me buy you a beer. And then after that, I met him in the Coors tent until I graduated. Every Ag Day barbecue, I'd meet him in the Coors tent and we'd sit down and drink a six pack before the game. It was pretty cool. And it was just because he's like, you look like you work hard. So, yeah, it was weird how you meet some of those people, but it's when you're ready to, you know, when you're just willing to sit down and have a conversation with them, you meet some really fucking cool people.
That's the only reason I have been successful, is I'm one of the few people from my industry that has a vast group of friends and a vast outreach. A lot of people in my industry just surround themselves with other people from the industry, but I'm always branching out. You know what I mean? Because then I'm always learning shit, right? I'm just not in an echo chamber.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. And I've talked to a bunch of like here recently, I've talked to a bunch of special forces types, and I love guns, but I'm not a gun nerd. You know, I know a little bit, and I'm more of a FUD when it comes to guns because I like my hunting rifles and
that's okay. That's okay.
You know, I like cowboy guns
on the internet. They couldn't shoot their way out of a wet fucking sack. All they do is parrot what they see on the internet. You want to have a Henry? You want to have a Weatherby? You want to have a 1911? Fucking have it. Don't limit yourself. These kids on the internet are fucking idiots.
All they
know and parrot is what they see. These are the same fuckheads buying bullpups. Don't listen to them.
Yeah.
Rantos. Dumb.
That. No, so I like listening to people that know what they're talking about. And, you know, so like, like Jim the Kraken or Clay Martin, you know, they're both, you know, qualified snipers. And so like, they know what the fuck they're talking about. And so I like listening to actual gun nerds, you know, because I'm not one,
right.
But I like learning from it, you know, and
okay.
And so
we can't lose the cattle either, so we're all good.
There you go. But like machine guns, that's a whole different deal because you've got to know people to even or be in the military to ever even be around them, you know. And so like how did you get into machine guns? Uh-oh, I think you froze.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Did I?
All right, you're back. There you are.
Sorry about that. I froze that.
That's all right.
Froze that. So I got into it. Can you hear me okay? If I freeze up, start screaming, all right?
All right, I'll let you know. You're good now.
All right. So I was a soldier. I went in the Army.
Okay.
And I did 3 active, nothing exciting, nothing remarkable. And then when I got out, I just went in so I could get the GI Bill. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I've heard that a bunch.
Yeah. So we didn't go into it with good, I didn't go into it with good intentions. So anyway, long story short, I went in, and then I came from a shooting family though, right?
Okay.
4th generation. My dad was in Vietnam, got drafted for the 1st, stayed for another 2, right? Mm-hmm. My mother married in Quantico and all that. So we're, 4 generations of, at least 4 generations.
Oh, right on.
When I got out, though, I wanted to make an exorbitant amount of money without going through a lot of time in college, right? Because I'm not like a feminist lady, but I also don't have my hand out either. So I wanted to make a shitload of money. So I was like, what can I do to make the most amount of money with the least amount of education? I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go be a welder. People were making. They were making 80, 100 a year, even back in 04 in the early 2000s, right before the fall.
Yeah.
Before all the money. So I went to Denver Community College, and I took everything they had, right? Stainless, aluminum, galvanized, brass, bronze, magnesium, cast, aircraft, right? And so I was the first lady to graduate from that program. Could you believe that?
No shit. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, they have me come back every year to talk to the kids.
Local celebrity. Hell yeah. That's awesome.
Stay on drugs and stay in school, kids. You can do both.
There you go.
I'm kidding. That's horrible. So I did that, and it was great. Got a little job working for Northwest Pipe, right? Mm-hmm. And I got a job at Cedar Sheet Metal, and we were doing all the stainless for like PF Chang's. We were doing restaurant stainless and all that stuff. And so then I was just welding my ass off because I did everything. Mm-hmm. And there was some old guys. So I was always on the peripheral edges of the machine stuff, right, with the collectors.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh, well, my stuff's cracked, or this is cracked, or that's cracked, or I want to do this, or I want to do that, or whatever. Can you do this? Can you? So I was like, absolutely, because I was doing like restaurant stainless and other like thin metal, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they would bring me their stuff. I'd heat sink it and counter weld it and all that stuff, so I wouldn't warp their shit.
Yeah.
So then when '08 came, you can hear me okay?
Oh, yeah, we're good. We're good.
Okay. So when '08 came, as you know, the trades, well, you were in school, huh? The trades went kind of sour. It was a real bad deal back then. So the trades got hit pretty hard. So I came to Vegas and I got machine gun work out here because there was a lot of machine gun tourism. Well, not a lot at the time. There was only 2 places to do machine gun tourism. And they had an ad on Craigslist, and I went in to apply, and I looked like just like this, with my hair all done and everything. I'm like, there's no way they're going to hire me. I was like laughing with my girlfriend. I was like, there's no way they're going to hire me. No way. And I went in and I said, well, I want to do this and this, and I can do that. And they say, here's the deal. We don't hire women, but we do hire welders, and we'll pay you $28 an hour. And in 2000, what was that? 2007, 2008, that was a lot of money.
Shit, yeah. I was making $13.25 in 2009, and I thought I was just making bank.
Dollars an hour. Whoa.
Hell
so
yeah.
I took it, and so it was great. So I fixed all their, they fixed all their stuff, welded their stuff, repaired, whatever. And then they taught me how to do, how to do all the tourists, how to do all the first time tourists, right? Because we get a lot of tourists coming out here that want to do machine gun rental, right? Before the apocalypse, 30% of our demographic was people from mainland China, Shanghai, Beijing. Let me be very clear with you, though. We do not train these people. We load, we make ready, we do everything. We set their hands and everything. We don't do any training. They just shoot the gun. So I don't want to have an ITAR issue. So anyway, so that's how it really took off. And so it's been really good to me. And the thing is you never hit a zenith. And I got mentored by a lot of pillars in the machine gun community. People like Dragon Man, if not better, as far as their skills went. Yeah. So, and that was the advantage that I had, because they wanted me to, do welding and stuff for them. Mm-hmm. So I got mentored. That was really important. Because you see a lot of people in the gun business, they can only run like 4 kinds of guns, right? Mm-hmm. So these guys taught me antique stuff, modern stuff, a lot of different kinds of systems. So I got really lucky. Cool.
That's so ballpark. How many different types of machine guns have you been around?
Oh, I don't know how to answer that, sir. I mean, like,
let's start with belt fed.
Okay, that sounds cool. Okay, we'll start with American. So we'll go M60, like they had on Rambo, Vietnam.
Oh yeah,
we'll go
classic.
And we'll go M2. We'll go M249 SAW. Everybody knows that one. Mm-hmm. That's the belt. We'll do 240 Bravo.
Okay.
We'll do, let's see, we'll do Browning 1919, Browning 1917. We'll do my Deuce, M2 50 cal, minigun. What else is there? What am I missing? I'm sure I'm missing a bunch. Oh, Shrike. Ew. I'm missing a ton. I'm missing a ton. This is what we get after like half Filipino.
So you've pretty much shot all there is to shoot out there.
Yeah, a British well rod. I've never shot that. There's only 2 in the United States that I'm aware of. And I've never shot a Lottie, which is a finished 20 millimeter.
Okay. What's the old World War II? Is it the Brits had the magazine came in on the side, and it was the Japanese that was on the top?
Well, there's a couple, yeah. So the Brits had one. Well, they had a couple that you put it on the side. So it's called a Sterling, right?
Yeah.
And then they have suppressors on them, right? We have one. We have one that you can come shoot, and
nice.
And it's integrally suppressed. So that I'll say it like this: it's like one silencer, and then you have your you got the Sterling, and you got the Sten.
Yeah, the Sten gun. That's the one I was. That's the one I was thinking of.
The Sten. Yeah, and you got Mark 1 through 4 or 5, right? And they actually made that sewing machine parts for 25 American cents during the war.
No shit.
They just slapped shit through it in a tube. Amazing.
Huh. That's wild.
Amazing.
And then it was
everything they could get their hands on. The Germans were coming,
Oh yeah. They those Brits they were pretty tough back in World War II. They just about got overrun. I mean, they were on the verge.
Yeah, they used to be absolutely insane. You're right. Yeah, like in a good way.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what happened.
Yeah, I don't know. They they got rid of their empire and they didn't have to fight all over the world anymore. So their men got softer, I think.
I think I'm not too sure what's going on with those people.
I don't know, because I was reading something about like the Rhodesian Bush Wars after World War II, and there was
Tony was in Rhodesia.
No shit. That's awesome.
Fascinating.
That's crazy. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah. But he's got some stories. Those guys were really, some of those guys in oh God, what is it? Gray's Cavalry. Those are a hell of a horsemen. You see how they ride?
I don't know if I have.
You got to pull up the old footage of those dudes riding.
I will.
Like, oh damn, those dudes.
Hell yeah.
Oh, they're good riders.
Hell yeah, I'll have to look that up. But I was, there's a couple books I'm going to read on the Rhodesian Bush Wars. But your uncle was in there. You should put me in touch with him. I'd like to visit with him because that's some shit that people, especially out here in the U.S., nobody knows about. But there's some wild shit that went down. That's
a neat dude.
Hell yeah.
He's really neat. He's old now. He's old.
That's all right.
Yeah.
I get along with old guys.
We'd have to set it up.
That's all right. I can record on the phone too. So I just give him a call. And,
yeah.
So
he's a fascinating man.
That's awesome. Yeah, the Sten gun. That was the one I was thinking. And then the Japanese, I think it was a 20 millimeter too. They had the magazine that came in from the top.
Yeah, so the Japanese and the French, a few other countries did some top feeds. You'll see they've got the Chauchet, all feed from the top as well. So
yeah, it's wild how I guess if we go back, it really the Gatling gun was the first like machine gun, wasn't it? Like what we would consider
the best of my understanding.
Yeah, but I guess if you were on the out west here, if you were one of the Indians, the Winchester repeater was basically a machine gun back then too. But I think as far as like the modern machine gun goes, that has to be the Gatling gun that started it, right?
Hotchkiss did a revolving cannon.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a cannon version of the Gatling, which is really neato. And it was on a horse-drawn mount.
Mm-hmm. See, I was telling, I had a military, so every week I do what I call it the bull session. I just get a couple different people, and it's usually just a bunch of cowboys, but I got a couple veterans that were now kind of in the cowboy world. And I was telling them, I was like, I don't think you guys realize like what a nerd I am, because I was like fourth grade. I can remember fourth grade reading Civil War like battle strategy, and like I couldn't put it down. I was just like, I'm a fucking nerd like that. But I remember
I used to read their surgeries when I was little, and I was just like, oh my God. Right? Like you would read about like the Civil War medicine and death, and you're holy shit.
So there's this old story about Stonewall Jackson, and I had this encyclopedia set. It was just a Civil War encyclopedia, and Stonewall Jackson, is widely known as like one of the best generals of the war. Shot by his own troops on coming through a skirmish line, and but he would, before every battle, he would ride up to the front to address his troops, but he'd always hold his right arm up, and he was very, very devout Christian religious guy. He was the superintendent or the dean of Virginia Military Academy, and so his troops always thought that he was praying. So he'd put his right arm up. So his whole army they'd put their right arm up, and then when he'd put it down, they'd go to fight. Well, it turns out he had some old injury, and he would hold his arm up to drain the blood out of his arm. There was nothing spiritual about it, but yeah, he thought that helped like drain some blood. Like I don't know if it who knows? It's back then. They didn't. There was no medicine. It's like, all right, bite down on this. We're sawing your leg off, and hopefully you don't get gangrene.
Dude, I'm telling you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that Civil War medicine with the bone saws and all that.
Oh man.
My God.
Yeah, just a shot of whiskey if you had it. Bite down on this stick, and now we're just gonna take a saw to your leg.
All right, here we go. Don't get scared now.
Yeah. Yeah, it was wild. It was you just think that was it was 160 years ago. Not that long. Like
we were talking about this work today, and I was talking to one of my closest colleagues, and we were talking about everything that's going on, and I always ask people, I'm like, are we on the brink of a civil war? And some
it sure
say,
feels
yes.
like it sometimes, don't it?
Or they say no, and I always think about it really hard, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I have a cousin that's a liberal, okay?
Yeah.
And I think if we have to divide, right? And I have my little uniform on, I see him on the battlefield, I'm not shooting my idiot cousin. It's not going to happen. Right. Or if you think about a civil war really hard, you're like, oh my God, that's my neighbor Ron, right? Or the lady that makes the coffee at the Quickie Mart, right? I'm not shooting Carol, right?
You're just really yelling across the line. Fuck you, Dave. I'm not shooting you, but fuck you.
Right? Yeah. But I can't imagine. If you think about it really hard, right? I don't think any of us would ever, I can't think about the frame of mind we would have to get into as a country. I don't know, maybe I sound like a total bleeding heart, hitting, cuddling pacifist. I don't want to blast Carol because she voted for Biden, right? That's crazy.
Right.
I don't. Right?
Well, yeah, and I just, there's times where I keep thinking that, there's something might pop off, but then I just look at people and even like the hardcore, 2A people, I've made fun of it at times. You know, I reposted a meme, and it just shows this enormous fat guy in a rascal scooter with an AR, and it's that quote from the Japanese general. It says, "You can't. We're not going to invade America because behind every blade of grass there's a rifle," and it shows this just like 500-pound dude on a rascal. Yeah, and I just like. I don't know. I think people are pissed, but I don't think they're that pissed. And
Rich, I'm just saying, like going back.
Go ahead.
What? No, go ahead.
I don't think we're that pissed, and also I think we're too soft. I just like. I know if shit does pop off, I know who I'm calling. And it's not because like they're going to protect me. I'm just be like, hey, I know you guys are probably going to need some beef, and most of you guys don't know how to take care of that. So like, I'll be your food supply. You guys run security. I can run food supply, you know, and I can plink if I need to, but like, I don't see that happening. And I've got my Boogaloo flag just because I like the memes. I like the thought behind, because you know the Revolutionary War was kind of the original Boogaloo, but I think we're so far from that, and our politicians are so swayed by public opinion that, I mean, I don't know. I just don't see, and we don't have as a hard and fast of a dividing issue as slavery nowadays. So I don't know. I don't know. I just, as bad as it is, I don't think we're anywhere close to like an actual hot civil war.
Oh my God. I just hope we can avoid the medical bone saws. That's all I ask.
Right. Right. Well, I guess on a bright note, like we do have better technology, even if we don't have like the medical equipment. We've at least got chainsaws instead of bone saws nowadays, you know, so it'd be over quick.
We got the Sawzall.
Yeah. Yeah. At least it won't last as long this time. But I mean, yeah, I don't know.
I have questions for you. I have a lot of questions for you. Can I rapid fire?
Okay. Hey, you with the face. Yeah. We got beef. You should have beef. Stetson Ranch beef. It's what you should be putting in your mouth. Stetson Ranches out of Fromburg, Montana. They're the lead sponsor of my podcast here. Some of the best people I've ever met on earth. They're fourth or fifth generation ranch family there in Fromburg, Montana. They do everything right when it comes to their ranch. They've got some of the best quality quarter horses you can find out there. And you know the horse market is a little crazy right now, but Tina has got a band of brood mares with some just phenomenal bloodlines. Going back to foundation quarter horses like Zanpar Bar, Two-Eye Jack, Peppy Sam Badger, Doc Bar. They just picked up a new stud that goes back to Doc Bar, and he's an own son of Peppy Sam Badger. They also got a King Ranch stud with a full crop expected this spring. Those colts are going to be just big, shapy, athletic, cowy, great disposition, gentle demeanor, and level head on them. Ready to go any which way you want. They're going to have plenty of bone, have plenty of body, just the right type of quarter horses that you might want. They also offer a really unique direct-to-consumer beef program, pasture to plate, if you will. They're running registered Black Angus cows, registered Hereford bulls, and they're feeding them out themselves using the highest quality ingredients, the best care you could possibly want from a rancher to their cattle. It's going to be delivered to your doorstep on dry ice. $6.95 a pound if you buy a quarter or an eighth. But the really cool thing is they got this subscription plan, and it's $125 a month, and it's 8 to 11 pounds of beef. That's hamburger, roast, stew meat, and various cuts of steak. If you use my promo code, Move Your Ass, MOVEYERASS, all one word, use that promo code, you'll get 20% off your first month. It's a hell of a deal and a hell of a family. Check them out online, StetsonRanches.com if you'd like to see the horses, StetsonBeef.com to order some meat. Next up, we got Thunderbird Equine, Miss Jessica Pancost out of Sandia Park, New Mexico. Now, she was up in northern Colorado, so you might know her from up there if you're in that area. She's now down around the Albuquerque area. She is a third-generation rancher, second-generation horse trainer. She's focusing on vaquero-style horsemanship for your colt, your horse, and your mule. Yep, you heard that right. She deals with mules. She requires a 60-day minimum on all animals you bring to her. But if you're bringing a colt to start, you can expect a gentler, quiet, confident, and respectful colt with all the tools to move on to any discipline that you might want them to. They're going to, on the ones you bring in to finish or for a tune-up, they're going to get all sorts of roping experience, ranch experience. The one on the roping side, they're going to be head and heeling, breakaway, and ranch roping, any and all of the above. And you can expect them to develop a harder stop, a more collected frame, and be able to move off of precise movement through your leg cues. And they will develop confidence to do anything you'd like under saddle, whether that be mounted shooting, roping, trail riding, or cattle work. And at the end of the program, you're going to get 5 free lessons to reacquaint yourself with your brand new equine partner. And you can find her on Facebook and Instagram, Thunderbird Equine. Give her a holler, 720-205-2996. And make sure you let her know you heard about it on Burnin Daylight and that I sent you her way. Next up, we got Tracie Morrison, Custom Silver out of Chelsea, Oklahoma. Tracie's a friend of the show, longtime listener, and just an all-around good guy. He's building all sorts of cool cowboy shit, whether that be buckles, bits, or spurs, conchos, cinch rings, legging rings, whatever you want. It's all handmade, custom made to order. And he'll just make some stuff and keep it laying around if you'd like to pick it up too. So just a great guy, makes some really cool stuff. His engraving is really top notch and hell of a good guy. You can find him on Instagram. Just search him up, Tracie Morrison Custom Silver. And yeah, he'll build you something. Let him know I sent you, and he'll cut you a little deal. And make sure you go tell him. Just go check out his stuff. We just did give away a horn cap and a silver money clip that he made. Really, really neat stuff. So go check that out. And last but not least, we got 4T Ag Insurance. Mr. Colt Tritt is the owner operator of that. This outfit, they provide all sorts of ranch insurance, whether it be pasture, rangeland, and forage for drought, annual forage insurance, equine, animal mortality, livestock risk protection, dairy revenue protection for milk and cattle, pasture and fire insurance, pasture fire insurance, and that's just to name a few. There's a whole lot more services they can offer. You have to give him a holler. He's a good guy, great friend of the show, and really works hard to provide good risk management and insurance for your for your operation. You can give him a holler at 817-559-5770, or you can find him on Facebook and Instagram. 4T Land and Cattle, 4T Ag Insurance. Just give him a search. You can find him. And let them know you heard about it on Burnin Daylight. And if you don't like listening to the ads, I understand. Nobody does. But these people they're good folks. They're paying me to put the word out there for them, and I'm glad to do so. But if that's not your cup of tea, there's a way you can get around that. You head over to patreon.com/BurninDaylight. And you can subscribe there. You get ad-free content. You'll get bonus content, and you'll also get signed up to enter a drawing that we do every month. Month of July, we gave away a horn cap and a money clip from Tracie Morrison. I already told you about that. Matt Wilson will be building a cantle concho for August. We might have a few other things to give away. Haven't decided yet, but anyhow, it's a good deal. We do some group discussions. We'll and you get a bunch of other cool stuff that you don't get on the regular feed. So patreon.com/burning-daylight and sign up there. Thanks to all the sponsors. Let's get back into the show.
Rapid fire. Are the globalists going to try to get us to stop eating beef and eat bucks? Go.
They're trying. I don't think it's going to go anywhere because the all natural movement's not going anywhere, and there's nothing more natural about meat than meat.
And I just think that people are going to be incredibly eating bucks. I'm allergic to fucking air, right? Like I just feel like you're going to allergic to bucks. I feel like it's going to be like a plethora of allergy issues.
Yeah, well, and even the super lefties, they still hate corporations. So as much as Bill Gates wants to make lab-grown meat, even the environmentalists and like the animal rights people are not going to eat lab-grown meat.
Okay, next question.
Okay.
Why do meat companies proudly put a sticker on a packet of beef at the grocery store that says no antibiotics? Don't we want our herd having antibiotics?
Ideally, you don't want to give any antibiotics ever because that means that animal never gets sick. However, antibiotics are not harmful. There is very strict regulations about how, so every piece of meat that you eat is antibiotic free. That doesn't necessarily mean that animal never got antibiotics, but they put no antibiotics on their label because technically it's true and because people eat it up. That it's marketing. That's all it is.
Like, I mean, if I see a cow or steer with an owl, like abscess, I want that thing to have antibiotics because I'm going to eat it, right? I'm going to eat that thing eventually. So that thing needs to have some antibiotics because I'm going to eat that.
Yeah. Well, exactly. And so like even like your organic operations, like the organic grass fed, they still use antibiotics. They just can't market it as, like completely organic. So that animal still gets slaughtered, still enters the food supply. It just doesn't get marketed under the USDA organic label. It's a mix between marketing and regulation. And, but there's, every time you give a shot, that the drug that you give them has on the label has a withdrawal time, and that's the amount of time it takes for that drug to clear their system. And by law, you cannot slaughter that animal if they're still under withdrawal. If they're a milking animal, you cannot sell that milk if they're under withdrawal. And it's safe. The hormone thing's a little different. It's still pretty safe, but there's been such a push it's been a market driven push that people don't like the hormone or the added hormones in their beef. And I get that. And we've done such a good job with genetics over the past, 20, 30 years that you can almost get by without, you can get by without it. And you can almost make up that difference just through genetics. Plus there's such a market demand for it that you're incentivized not to use it. So I don't know. I think the natural thing, I think there's some definite merit to it. I'm as much as and I work at a feedlot, so like I'm a proud factory farmer, but I think there's some merit to doing as little as you can to an animal, just letting them be an animal and not trying to hop them up. The genetics are good enough on their own that you can it's Mother Nature does stuff pretty well.
Sorry about that, my phone.
You're good.
Being weird. Can you hear me?
Yep, we're good. So, but I guess to answer your question, yeah, you want to use antibiotics when it's appropriate. Plus, that shit's expensive, especially the good, like the high-powered antibiotics are expensive. Profit margins are very thin, so you try your best not to give them antibiotics, but when they need it, you need it.
Yes, for God's sake, give the sick animals their antibiotics. Jesus Christ.
Exactly.
Okay. Next question. You work at a feedlot. At what point is it too hot to transport cattle from feedlot to the slaughterhouse?
I don't know, because I've shipped a lot of cattle when it was really hot, and I've never heard of any fat cattle dying on the way to the plant like we've shipped cattle at 110 degrees before, and then that was shipping from Southwest Kansas to Brawley, California. We were shipping a load of fat Holstein steers, and yeah, once you get running down the highway, as long as there's some air moving through those trailers, there's a reason they got those vent holes all the way through it. It's just to keep air moving. So, I mean, it's miserable, I'm sure.
Question, but I was driving back to town from Machine Gun, and then I passed a truck, and it was about 1:15 out in that heat wave, and they had a bunch, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, a truck going through, and I was like, oh no, you're going to ruin the money.
Well,
we're losing money. Get them back.
Well, the biggest thing,
make it.
The biggest thing there is it's more on the financial end, because they're gonna shrink a lot when it's hot like that. So like you can.
That's what I'm saying. We're losing money. Yeah.
So typically how those work, like you figure in, and on fat cattle, they're going to slaughter, you're looking at a 4% shrink is kind of what the ballpark 4.5% shrink. And the hotter it gets, obviously, the more that's going to be. And so all at the end of the day, that just it'll change your bottom line. You'll have to readjust your average head or your average weight, and but it's really not that. It's just one of those things, you're on a schedule. These cattle got to be killed today, and that's when that's their appointment. You got to get them there, and that's
okay. Well, I'll stop being a Karen about it. My business.
It's
and then
well, and they also load them. They'll load them a little lighter, or they try to make them as comfortable as you can. Like when it gets real hot like that, they'll bed the trailer and stuff, and it's. Yeah. And
so I don't want to alienate your audience by saying this, but I'm Jewish.
Okay.
So we have a certain way of handling our animals, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And kosher.
Besides that, also, like animals are fed before we are. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, like of feeding animals before you eat and things like that, right?
Yep.
Like, part of that, like the no milk and meat, is that they think it's barbaric to eat like a cheeseburger where you eat a calf and its mother's milk. They think it's barbaric. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's if you think about it, it's kind of fucked up.
Yeah, kind of. I could see that. So do you eat kosher, or are you like a practicing Jew, or?
Yeah, I am practicing. I am what I guess I would call myself semi-kosher. So there's no shellfish, no pork.
Okay.
But there is cheeseburgers.
There you go.
Right. Well, but I still am enjoying myself. No shellfish, no pork.
Okay.
But, I don't care if other people do. Right.
Mm-hmm.
I know it doesn't, and it's not, whatever.
That's how people should be. Like, I don't care either. Like, I don't care if you're a vegan. I just don't want to hear about it. I mean, do your thing.
No, I don't think so.
But
I was going to ask you a question. You could tell me. So, like when you go to the slaughterhouse
mm-hmm.
and they use the stun gun.
Yeah.
What's kinder, the kosher or the stun gun? Since it's 2021, I've never could make it up my mind. Because, you don't want to be like sticking it, right? And like scare it. Yeah.
Well, the stun gun's about as humane as it gets. And kosher, like there's the whole, they've got to bless the animal and then they got to cut the throat the right way. But at the end of the day, they're both getting their throat cut. So it just is what it is. And the only difference is instead of, like when you do the stun gun, it doesn't kill them. It just knocks them out. And then you put them on the rail, cut their throat. And then it's all the same thing. I mean, even and I'm not sure the halal process, but Muslim people eat beef too, and there's a certain way that they prepare it, and so I think it's more along the lines of kosher. It's obviously different, but it's all the same thing. At the end of the day, you cut their throat to bleed them.
I'm going to say something. As a Jew, I'm going to say we're cleaner than the Muslims, first of all. Okay, I have to. But, but a lot of people don't realize, like with the kosher kill isn't really to have the rabbi there to bless the animal. The tradition of having a rabbi there that's been going on since Leviticus, which is, I call it the original health department is what I call Leviticus, right?
Yeah.
That's God's health department, right? Like,
right.
Don't grab it out of the ocean and put it in your mouth. Wash your hands, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So the rabbis are supposed to check that it's a healthy animal, that it's not sick, that it doesn't have any sores on it. So the rabbi was actually the first, let's just say USDA grade A inspector to make sure people weren't eating rank animals.
Right. Yeah. And as far as I tend to agree with you on the Muslim thing as well. I mean, that I don't know if I have any Muslim listeners, but if I did, I probably don't now, but that's fine. And I don't have any, I don't have anything against them, but that's the same way that it's all the same principle. And you look at how stuff has evolved through time. Like there was a lot of cultures that didn't eat pork because trichinosis. It wasn't, and that's what they considered.
It was so contaminated. They were not set up to deal with that. Oh my God, no.
Right. It'd be the same as eating a bear that's been just rummaging around in somebody's trash pile,
Exactly. Or eating like a prairie dog. No.
Mm-hmm. Right. And so like they have all these, and whether you believe that came from God or if that was just from wise people learning throughout the years, like however you want to view it, that it all served a purpose. And so for all the crazy rules in Leviticus, I like to quote Leviticus just every now and then, just especially when I call people a bitch. I quote that one verse out of Leviticus about the woman being on their period, because that's the smartest way I know to call another guy a bitch. But
they got to sleep outside. They got to sleep out in a tent.
Yeah. And so that one doesn't really make much sense to me, but I'm sure there was a reason for it at the time, but who knows? I don't know.
Surprised if she has some space away from her fucking family.
Yep. Probably because he's like, that bitch is crazy. Get out.
She needs she needs her own tent for the whole week. Bye.
They just got a circle of rabbis. They're like, all right, man. This bitch is nuts. We got to do something.
Yep. That's right.
Yeah.
They can just go sit in there and eat snacks and be upset.
There you go. Give her a jar of peanut butter and some chocolate and just let her out there.
Turn on Hallmark Christmas. It's time.
Grey's Anatomy, like biblical edition. So did you go to Hebrew school?
Okay. No.
I always wondered. No. So when people do go to Hebrew school, do they wear a uniform?
Yeah.
No, they don't wear a uniform.
Did you just ask me if they wear a uniform?
Yes.
They wear a uniform. Yes, they wear uniforms there. Yes, definitely. Yeah. Yeah. They got their uniform on. Yeah. I think that more people need to support the beef industry here in the United States. What is the best way for us to do that besides buying our beef at Costco and Sam's, which we like to do because we can get sides of beef for like $100.
You can go to a local rancher. I've got one of my sponsors is up in Montana, but he does a monthly subscription box. It's anywhere from 8 to, I think he said 8 to 11 pounds, comes to your door every month, delivered on dry ice, and, costs you $100. And it's
$100 a month.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll send
phenomenal.
you.
Why don't we know about this guy?
Well, if you listen to my podcast, you do know. StetsonRanches.com or StetsonBeef.com is where you order that. But there's guys like that, they have a limited supply, but there's people like that all over. And that's been one of the great things about this pandemic is like, well, you remember back in March and April when all of a sudden the meat case is fucking empty. And then there's a big
crazy.
Yeah, and there was a big backlog in the slaughter. There was plenty of beef to be had, but there was nobody to kill it, and there was nothing in the stores because these big packing houses. We got a huge bottleneck in the supply. But there's been people. My dad's been doing it for years. There's a lot of people that sell just a beef here and there, a half beef, whatever. But most of your local ranchers, if you know somebody that runs cattle, ask them if they have any beef for sale, and most of them will. And that is the best way to support your independent producers. Just go find a rancher, ask them if they got beef, there's tons of people that do that, and you know where it's going to come from. When you get a package of hamburger from them, that's coming from one animal. If you buy a package of hamburger at the store, you're looking at between, I want to say like a couple hundred different animals probably go into that. Not that that's a bad thing necessarily. They're all inspected, whatnot. But this is like if you like small business and shopping local, buy local food. That's the best way to do it. Just go to your local rancher or local butcher shop.
I wonder if there's one here in Vegas that is selling beef,
I bet there is.
I'm sure.
And we'll anybody that's listening to this, I'm sure they'll if they know they'll shoot you a message or something. But yeah, there's plenty of people that do that, and it's a great thing about technology is now you can flash freeze it, put it on dry ice, and ship it across the country, and it still be frozen when it gets there. And frozen meat is good. I mean, there's Wendy's, never frozen bullshit, but freezing meat is a good thing. It lasts. You thaw it out, and it's still just as good as long as it's wrapped correctly and it's not freezer burnt. But that freezing is not going to hurt a damn thing. And but yeah, that's the best way to support the local or the beef industry in general, or the ranching industry. Just go to your local rancher or a local butcher shop. There's always somebody. And then otherwise, like especially on these like in Colorado, they had a ballot initiative or a referendum here in 18, I think it was, or was it 8? No, it was in 20. It was to reintroduce wolves into Western Colorado, and it passed. But every single county that is affected by that wolf reintroduction voted no. You had Vail, Denver County, Boulder County, Larimer County, up where Fort Collin is. All the yuppies voted to reintroduce wolves, and they don't have to deal with that. So if there's any sort of issue like that, talk to a rancher and ask them how it's going to affect them, because stupid bullshit like that makes it harder for folks like us to make a living. And all we're trying to do is make good food.
They're gonna have to get about 4 or 5 great Pyrenees, aren't they?
Oh yeah, and it just it makes it tough. Those wolves will wreak havoc. They get big. They eat a lot of meat, and then they get bold, and then they just come in and they'll kill calves, they'll kill cows. They don't give a shit. And yeah, it's nature. Nature's awesome,
they're
but
smart too. That's the thing. That's the problem.
Yeah, and I love watching.
Smart. That's the thing, is they've got the problem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true, and it's awesome watching.
Yeah, I think, don't you just throw some?
Oh, go ahead.
Don't they just put like the Great Pyrenees out there and leave them out there with them?
They do that with sheep. Cattle, not so much. Now the problem with cattle is that they'll get the babies, like, right, when the mama's still kind of weak. That's when they'll come in. They'll eat a calf, no problem. Coyotes do it too, and so at that point, it's up to the rancher for predator.
Like the hogs do in Texas. Drop that calf, and the hogs will go in and eat it.
Yep. Yeah, it's the same type of deal, and so it's up to the
yes.
It's up to the rancher for predator control, and it's hard enough. I mean, there's enough coyotes out there that we don't need wolves too.
Have you seen that with the Russians do too? The Russians with the cattle and the sheep, they put out those dogs called the ovsharkas. Do you know what those are?
Yeah, I've seen those. They're like they're like a Malinois on steroids.
It looks like a Saint Bernard with its ears cut off.
Yeah.
It's like a 250 pound angry fluffy dog.
Yeah.
And they'll put, I think, like 2 or 3 out there with their herds, and they'll just be out there fucking them up.
Yeah, I've seen that, and yeah, there's the wolves really haven't been that big of a problem for a long time. We kind of got rid of them once they started running cattle in the western U.S. They, for the most part, they got rid of them, and then now people want to reintroduce them, and now so. I don't know. You don't want to see the wolf go extinct, but you also, every calf you lose, that just cuts into your profit margin, and it's hard enough to
thousands of dollars. They should get some of those gang member of Sharkas from Russia. That's what I would do. I don't know what else to do. Please don't pet them; they bite.
There's something about Russians. They just everything about them is just a little bit extra, ain't it? they just don't give
wild.
They don't give a fuck.
Love it. It's perfect.
I was watching a video.
I got a random.
Yeah, let's hear it.
No, go ahead. Tell me. Tell me.
I was going to say, I was just watching a video of these fucking Russians. They taped a bunch of Roman candles to a drone, and like, in the shape of like miniguns, So you had like 4 Roman candles on each side, and they took off, and everybody took off running. They're just, and of course they dubbed it "Too Fortunate Son," because why wouldn't you? It's a perfect song to put in the background. But yeah, like I commented on that. I said,
song to lose an eye to. Yeah,
exactly. If I would have had a drone when I was 13, I would have burnt all of Baca County to the ground with that damn thing. I guarantee you.
We weren't that rich. Calm down. We ain't that rich.
All right, what's your question?
$300 or how much they are. Did the COVID come from meat brought in from China?
Fuck no. Well, unless you consider the Chinese people meat. I mean, technically, yes, they came from Chinese people, and people are just a bag of meat. So yes, it did. But no, that shit came from a lab.
Okay.
Yeah, you can't have that many coincidences coming out of Wuhan. You know, that shit came from a lab. The wet market thing was just, and it's kind of believable if you don't understand anything about what they were doing there. If you didn't know that there was a bioweapons lab in Wuhan, you could probably believe the wet market deal, because let's face it, Mexicans, I thought, would eat anything, but the Chinese will literally eat anything and everything. Like they have no qualms about eating stuff.
Pump the brake. Okay, I'm about to go full Alex Jones on you, right?
Let's hear it.
Hear me out. It's a question. It's not a statement. This is a question. Don't get my straight jacket. Why did so many people work at these meat plants get so fucking sick? To the volume way higher than other places that work in similar tight quarters and similar environments. Wouldn't the fastest way be to spread a bioweapon via something that we eat and touch that we all go?
Yes, it would be, but the reason it spread so quickly in those meat plants is I don't know if you've ever been on a kill floor or on the processing floor of a slaughterhouse. They keep it about 40 degrees in there all the time, and it's wet.
Right,
so
right.
It's just a perfect environment for a virus to thrive. That's why. And you're
virus.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a perfect viral condition. Flu spreads through. It's just like in the dorms in college. Like when one person got sick, everybody got sick. I can remember we had the sweetest little lady.
Like wild.
Yeah, okay. We had the sweetest little janitor lady that cleaned our bathroom in the dorms, and but I remember like 2 or 3 different times the plague ran through Parmalee Hall, and Linda was our janitor's name. She'd always bring us tea when we were sick. But yeah, it's just the same way. But it spreads even quicker in a packing house, just because it's cold, it's wet, and you're in close proximity. So the flu spreads through there like wildfire, colds, everything. Yeah, it's pretty common.
Okay.
Do you hear the latest deal on those? Do you hear the latest on the testing that they were doing, like that PCR test that the main COVID test that they were using? They the CDC just put a pause on that particular test because it doesn't distinguish between influenza and COVID. And all of a sudden, like, influenza disappeared last year. Weird.
Yeah, but I had this conversation with my doctors, and they're like, we're not getting any flu. And I'm like, well, you're not testing for the flu. Are you using flu swabs, or what are you doing? You tested for influenza A and B, or are you just trying to do a 3-in-1 here, or what's the plan?
Yeah, but they're using that COVID test,
what are you doing?
And it'll pick up flu, but it doesn't differentiate between the flu and COVID, but that's the test they were using. So how many of those COVID cases were actually influenza? And you don't just get rid of.
I haven't read up on it enough.
Yeah. Well, so
I haven't read up on it enough to know about it yet.
Yeah, I haven't either. I was listening to Ron Paul talk about it, and he's a medical doctor. He's pretty smart, well, very smart guy, but he's a legit medical doctor, so he knows his stuff. And so like the they were saying that the reason the flu numbers were down so far was because everybody was wearing masks. But influenza is also a virus, just like COVID is. So if the masks were not stopping COVID, but they stopped influenza miraculously, it doesn't really, like, none of that shit adds up. Like, because it's just as transmissible as COVID. So, like, I don't. I think we were lied to the whole time.
What if they lied to us? That's so bad.
I know, weird. The government would never do that. So, hey, NSA
No,
man,
you know what,
this is a comedy show.
I gotta tell you though, and I'm gonna sound like a total comlib, and that's okay. I have horrible allergies, and I do a lot of tannerite explosions out in the dirt. Right? I am loving my mask. I still wear a mask.
I noticed that you wear your mask all the time.
For the last 10 years. Yeah, I wear my mask all the time because I'm out there running explosions all the time in that dirt. Right? So that means I was on antibiotics 4 times a year for since 2012. Okay? So now I'm a mask dude. I am all about it. And before your people turn the off button, I got the deviated septum. I got all this going on, right? But you know what? Because I work in that fine that I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You got that fine moon dust up there. I'm all about it. I'm like, because I'm like the biggest tanner. What?
I would say I work in a feedlot, so I breathe fine dust all the time, and so I understand the the efficacy of a mask. I just know. I also know
we are the biggest tannerite. We're the biggest tannerite customers in the United States, right?
Nice.
That's a lot of fucking tannerite, man.
Yeah.
So I'm like.
Oh, you froze now. There you are. You're back. You froze right as you were putting your mask on.
There's a right answer, you know.
No,
we're huge. It's cool. If you don't want to wear a mask, that's wearing a point. Did I become? I didn't. What point do I believe what's on the news? I don't. It's my first bio attack. I don't know what's right for them. Fuck, I don't know what's right for me.
Right.
Everyone has a lot of opinions that are very polarizing, right? We got so many people that are like, fuck you, get vaccinated. Fuck you, don't get vaccinated.
Right.
Listen, we just got a bio attack, right? Okay? And none of it has been transparent. So let's just calm down. Stop, the whole thing is so polarizing and crazy. It's crazy.
I agree.
I think that guy's taking a leak.
Water.
That's your piss jug.
Yeah. No, the whole thing is Trump just broke people's brains on both sides of the aisle. And I'm not even blaming Trump. I'm just saying, for whatever reason, the left hates him, irrationally hates him, and because of that, the hardcore conservatives irrationally love him, and everything is political now. There's no if Trump hadn't been in office, you could look at that Fauci guy and be like, that guy is full of shit. This guy's been full of shit the whole time. And I think
that's a bad man. That's a very, very bad man.
Yep. And I think,
and I'm going to tell you what.
Go ahead. Yeah, I want to hear.
He is so bad. And now, I'm like a Ross Perot type lady, right? But I vote red because I vote red because I don't want to give my vote away. My grandparents taught me that because they got real involved in the Tea Party and then elected all the wrong fucking people with their vote, right? They gave their vote away. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so my family made the decision that we were going to vote red. We're not giving our fucking votes away anymore. We're done. Mm-hmm. So, long story short, so do you remember that movie about the gay people, the Dallas Buyers Club, Matthew McConaughey?
Yep.
Okay. So remember that drug he was bringing in from Mexico?
Yep. That was 100% legal in the U.S.
AZT or whatever it was called.
Something like
illegal.
That. Yeah. Well, it wasn't.
Do you know who...
Oh, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Do you know who passed through to the FDA and got it done?
It was Fauci.
That's right. You know, the gay people that motherfucker has killed?
A bunch.
Thousands.
And he also is the one that... He's also the one that...
If you look up Fauci and gay rights, if you look up at Fauci and gay rights, and I'm not saying like either, your platform cares about this. I'm just giving you a background on this kind of person that can watch people die, watch people grieve their children, watch this, have the means and the ability to push it through, right? If you Google Fauci gay rights, there is so many people that died. Yep. And he didn't do anything to help them. That's a bad man.
Yeah. Well, and he was the one, because I remember, so you're a few years older than me, not too much. We won't, and it's not polite to ask a lady, and all that. But it's like, I was in elementary school and like the AIDS craze, everything was AIDS was going to get you,
That's right. You're right. It was going to be AIDS. We were going to die of AIDS.
Yeah. And he was directly responsible for the thought that you could get AIDS by touching somebody who had AIDS, which is not true at all. Like there has to be some sort of like sexual contact to transmit HIV. So like, but
it was know that. At what point he said that or what?
Yeah, he was the main guy behind like the thought that, like the AIDS was like super transmissible and contagious. It turns out it's not.
Well, I don't think he knew, right? They didn't know that in '83. They didn't know how it transmitted.
No, they didn't. But he also never ever corrected himself on it either.
Yeah, they said he was an AIDS pioneer. And I'm like, well, what did he do? Hang up some fucking posters at his YMCA? Like, what did he do as this great pioneer? Because all I see are dead people. I don't see, but maybe he hung up a poster in '86. Fuck him.
Yeah, and so like,
I mean, not that I'm like a gay rights advocate. I'm just saying those are somebody's children that he could have helped.
Right. And so and like I'm right with you on the Ross Perot side. I'm pretty, and I don't even like the term libertarian anymore because I don't know. I believe in individual liberty. Yeah. That's what I believe.
Gary Johnson's about ruining that.
Yeah, Gary Johnson's kind of a doofus, but yeah, he had some good views, but like I'm a Ron Paul guy, which is and he's about as libertarian as it gets, and I just like I don't.
That
like the
was
gay,
how my family was.
Yeah. And so like the gay thing, I've got gay cousins, I've got gay friends. I don't get it. It kind of grosses me out. But if that's what you want to do, fine. I don't care. It's fine.
I'm not involved. I'm not involved.
It doesn't affect me, so I don't care.
You found love. Very nice.
Right. Whatever. And but yeah, going back to Fauci, like, you got the AIDS thing way, way wrong. And you blocked this one drug, like you said. It was harmless and actually helped in conjunction with like Dallas Buyers Club. It's a fucked up movie. It's depressing, but it's a good movie. And
there's no reason that those people had to do that when the insurance companies and the FDA could have carried that. There's no reason.
Right.
You know what I mean?
It's the same thing with ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine. The only reason Well, like our esteemed governor here, who's also a real piece of shit. Steve Sisolak is a real piece of shit.
Steve Sisolak from Milwaukee. You ever hear him cuss out the journalists with his Milwaukee accent? It's delicious.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
so, like, my whole favorite thing of watching Steve Sisolak is to wait until the end when the journalists can ask their questions, right? Because he'll start yelling like through his mask, and he's got like the jowls, like his jowls will shaking. Yeah. He'll start like puffing, and he'll just be screaming in that Milwaukee accent, and it's just fabulous. I just love it. It's almost like a mini meltdown, and I like it.
Right. Yeah. And but he made it illegal. Not just said it's not approved for treatment, but illegal to prescribe hydroxychloroquine to treat COVID.
I know that. And I also know doctors. I personally know doctors here, and I would never say who.
Yeah,
that were
obviously
prescribing it because their patients all of a sudden had lupus and RA. All of a sudden developed lupus and RA. And you know what? Good for them, because they had to honor their oath, and that was the best medication that they could use at the time. I don't know the clinical studies on that for that use. I don't know. I'm never going to know, right? I can't figure out how ivermectin, which is like a dewormer, is working on a fucking virus either. Are you sure it's not in the food, Matt?
I don't know. I don't think it is, but I don't think that's quite how it works. But I could be wrong. I'm also not a scientist. I call myself doctor sometimes, but I am not a scientist.
We stayed at a Holiday Inn last night.
But the whole point of it is hydroxychloroquine has been an FDA approved drug for like 40 something years. We have
for
data on
lupus and RA and malaria.
Yeah. But either way, we know we have decades worth of research data about the side effects. It's a safe drug, and it happens to be a generic drug, which means Pfizer, Moderna, Johnson & Johnson don't stand to make a fuckload of money if it's an effective treatment. No, it means every pharmaceutical manufacturer can start making mass quantities of hydroxychloroquine for very, very cheap. Same with ivermectin. Guess what, though? This vaccine, it's emergency use authorization, which means if there is an effective treatment for COVID, which it seems like there's probably an effective treatment out there somewhere, considering it's a 99.8% survival rate. Somebody had an effective treatment somewhere, but they won't say that because then all these vaccines have to go through the normal protocols and testing. And then those companies don't make $32 billion in the first quarter of 2021 without those vaccines.
Like science, bio, and I just tells me about the cold that infant have full and it's terrible cold body fever for days, right? I have friends that are completely conservative. I can't tell you how conservative all right these people are. From my friends that got and they ended up like the kidney failure and the oxygen, right? Mm-hmm. So, hospitalized for days, 9 days, what kills me about this have one person that's 40 and a cough and cold for them, and the next guy is oxygen with like kidney renal failure. That's mm-hmm. about it the most. And everybody believes that they're going to be than 89 or 99 or whatever or whatever. What tells me about it is none of us know like what our journey is going to be that, Larry. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
And I, obviously living in Vegas, I'm at ground for cut, right?
Yeah.
I'm in a giant petri dish for the navy blue, but the whole thing is just so crazy.
Yeah, it is wild.
Like, I'm sure people that have ended up not seeing people die. People die 3 weeks.
See, I'm in a completely different scenario than you. Like we live out in the middle of nowhere. There's and I know people that have had it. I know a lot of people have had it, but I don't know anybody personally that's died or been hospitalized from it. Is the crazy thing.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So, that doesn't mean that I think, I mean, like I realize it's a serious deal. And I've said that from the get go, but it's the reaction to it is what has been insane. And I mean, just absolutely insane.
I think that in Illinois, that thought, right? Internet. I didn't have any of those. I wouldn't have any of those concerns, right? We'd be fucking getting drunk and having a nice time and friends, and you know what I mean? But I think when you live somewhere like Miami, Los Angeles, or New York, better destinations, right? Like oh no.
Yeah, it's a whole different deal in those cities, for sure. And yeah, it's just, man, it's just so insane that I never thought you'd see the United States of America turn into just like a totalitarian state, and within the over the course of, well, it happened like 3 weeks, and next we got 2 weeks to slow the spread, and then here we are a year later, and they're gearing up to go into another lockdown. Like, fuck, it's just insane.
So everything that and time here, I don't know if you did that or not. So I'm sure you did. So I like that. Well, what did we do with our leftish? And that shit show started in what? February of 17 or 18. And they didn't come out of it until February of 1920 or more. I'm sure my dates are wrong, but it's close. Does that sound?
Yeah.
So it was a 2-year ordeal.
Oh, yeah.
I just resigned myself that I feel like this is going to be. I just look at this damn flu, right? I'm like, all right, we probably have a 2-year deal until we can get all this sorted out, right?
Yeah,
I want it to be a 2-year ordeal? No, I don't. But I'm sure people in 1918 didn't either. But the first thing about seeing all this, a whole other layer. So, no, we're gonna end up like a Lester Sloan movie where we're all with the fucking lens thingies on our head.
Yeah, it's, I don't know, it's it's amazing how like just how little pushback there was too. I mean it just, well, and you know very well. I mean, like that was creepy seeing the Vegas Strip go dark. Like that was fucking creepy.
It was crazy. You know what was fear than that? No airplanes.
Yeah.
So it was an island. It's air in here, and there was no airplane. There was like 2 little planes a week, and we would fly, and we'd be like, "Holy shit, there's an airplane!"
It's wild. But it sounds like Vegas is pretty well back now, though, huh? Like people masked up and stuff.
Yeah, no. So the people are not masked up, but so rumor has it that the casinos will no longer be donating to Mr. Sisolak's reelection campaign fund. I'm sure you can see why.
Yeah, so. Big shocker there. If that guy gets reelected,
there might be some hard feelings over the billions that have been lost.
Yeah, I will say if that guy somehow gets reelected, Nevada might. I can't. And I don't know which pony. I haven't picked my pony yet. It's either going to be Lombardo or the mayor of North Vegas. Both of them have thrown their hat into the ring. I think Lombardo is going to have an incredible amount of problems and questions about 1 October. Woo, 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 woo. Don't want to open that up. And so the North Vegas mayor is the big Trumper. So we got between the two of those guys, and don't know what's going to happen yet. Well, is Laxalt going to run again? I haven't heard about.
Nobody wants that guy because he lives. Where does he live? In Washington State, and he just comes here by name only.
Yeah,
nobody knows him. Nobody loves him.
See, I voted for Ryan Bundy last time.
One of their relatives used to work for me on the machine gun line, a remarkable man. But once again, we lost 10,000 votes to the Bundy family, if not more. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I love them. I love what they do. I love what they stand for. But I think for self-preservation and the preservation of our primary constitutional rights, we're going to have to go to two-party this year or in 2022. I know. Don't beat me up, libertarians. Don't leave dead animals on my doorstep, okay?
I would never. I would never.
And like I said, I love them so much, but there isn't a reason why they couldn't be a lieutenant governor or another position for them down the line. I'm not saying that.
No, I agree.
But my point is, are we going to go full commie, baby, or are we going to put somebody in the office that's going to protect like a shred of what we are entitled to?
Yeah, the more important issue here, especially in the state, is to elect good sheriffs and county commissioners, especially in like rural Nevada is fucking awesome. All these rural counties are just like, and we talk shit about Vegas, but we still got to remember Vegas is still a swing. I mean, it's a swing area. It's still kind of split.
It's a terrible situation.
There's still
a terrible situation. Like Denver and Boulder, right? Situation.
Yeah, but there's still a lot of good people in Vegas. There's just more Californians than there is Nevadans anymore. But yeah, I think.
No. Look at you, and I've been out of my home. I had a transplant here, but I definitely did. But I think 2022 is definitely going to be an election to watch for Nevada.
I think Nevada is going to go hard red in 22. I think they're going to go hard red.
I hope so. I'm going to say something really wild to you. So when we vote here, I like to wait until voting day, right? I don't like to mail or any of that. I never liked early voting. I don't do any of that. Unless you're a soldier overseas or something, you're in a hospital or something, then it's okay.
Right,
So I always wait, and then I want to get my sticker, So it was so crazy because we all had to line up and go into these tents, right? They were like these plastic, like great big tents with the machines, the electronic machines. and I saw a massive Mexican American turnout in mega stuff. Young Mexican kids. Mexican kids between ages of let's just say 40 to 20. And they had, I saw at least 50 of them in some sort of mega. And I didn't realize that they had that strong of a following with young Mexican Americans in their 20s and 30s. That was so cool.
Yeah, well, and it was the same way in Texas and Arizona too, right on the border. Like all those heavily Mexican communities went for Trump. Same way in Florida with the Cuban community. There's Trump did really well for a Republican with the Mexican community, the Hispanic community, the black community.
The media didn't tell me that, right?
No, they won't because Orange Man bad, right?
Because they're like, only white people vote for Donald Trump, and then here I am, it's me and a bunch of Mexicans, and I'm like, and I'm not saying that like a Republican, that it's like an observer, right? I was like, I had no idea. The media said that they hate this dude, right?
Yeah.
But here they are. It's like an alternative reality.
Yep. Trump's biggest problem was Trump. He couldn't shut his fucking mouth. And that's what it was.
Yeah. I miss the 2 a.m. tweets, though. I do.
I know
miss the tweets. Talking with dog face and sports face lesbian.
It's lion dog face pony soldier. We got that instead of Covfefe. I know it. We went from Covfefe to lion dog face pony soldier.
Donald Trump had the I called him the Scotch tweet.
Yep. He
now we don't.
He was a shit disturber. That's what he was, and he couldn't help himself. And it was funny, especially if you don't view him as a president and you just view him as an entertainer. He is goddamn hilarious. But yeah, I don't know.
I'm gonna always miss the Scotch tweets at 2 a.m. Always.
Yep. He did know how to get under people's skin, and that was funny. I mean, it was really entertaining.
I enjoyed it very much. It's horrible.
I know it. Well, shit, we've been going almost 2 hours here.
All right.
I've enjoyed the hell out of it. You're a cool chick, Bebe. Where can everybody find you on social media? So you get all the creepers sending you DMs.
Yes. Send me pictures of your pet. Pictures of their pets. So that's nice.
Yeah.
Machine Bebe, and I'm on Facebook too. It's Bebe Noyes. But thank you for having me. I'm sorry I talk about a bunch of random things and not even machine gun.
No, hey, this was, like I said, this is what I was. This is the best type of podcast. You start with something in mind, and then when it goes off the rails, those turn out way more interesting. So I enjoyed the shit out of it.
Thank you. A rather uncooperative.
That's all right. Well, I'll have to get down to Vegas. You can show me the way around a machine gun, and we'll do one of these in person.
Yeah, and all about raising.
Hell yeah, and I'm sure my wife will outshoot me because she's a pretty good shot, but we won't let anybody know that.
You know what? The thing is that women are very patient shooters. They'll sit there waiting and then they'll go. They're patient.
Yep. I overthink it.
That's about ladies. Ladies are patient until they get just right in there.
Yeah, and until it's time for them to go live out in a tent for a week out of the month, and then
That's right. Yeah. I'm all about it.
All right. Well,
Everything.
you too, Bebe Noyes, is that?
Right.
All right. Well, you're
Noise.
I say this with the utmost respect. You're a bad bitch. Look forward to talking to you again.
Have a wonderful week. Make lots of money.
You betcha. And on that
Thank
note,
you.
move your ass with Burnin Daylight.
Kitchen, I hear it singing through the screen. Weather warnings in between. I'm glad you got out of the city. There's no telling what's in store along the 35 corridor. Kerosene to feed the flame. Your effect is quite the same. Shadows dancing on the wall, waiting for the sky to fall. Couldn't ask for better weather. You were saying with a grin to the sound of hailstones hitting tin. It's loud enough